Welcome to Tailgate Update. This is number 58. Welcome to 2025, the year of the Jubilee. This century is officially one quarter of the way done. So if you've got some things to do, you've only got 3/4 of a century to do it in. So y'all hurry up. But we're here today with Julie Miller. We're here with Ryan Besaw. We're here with myself. We're going to do our special football episode because if you're like me, just having it in tablet form is not enough. I've had football intravenously for 3 straight weeks now.
Okay,
so
pretty much every day.
Every day, tomorrow day, I believe 22 straight days of football.
It feels like the pandemic. Remember when they had to reschedule for all these random days and times because people were sick? It feels like that again.
That's right. This was officially like the first, not officially, the first officially scheduled Wednesday game. The last one, like Julie said, was during the pandemic. They rescheduled like a Monday night game for a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're rolling on with so we'll touch a little bit on the college games, which were very intriguing once it got past the first weekend. Ryan, why don't you lead us off with some of that so we can each pitch in a little bit.
All right, I can do that for you. So Texas defeated Arizona State 39-31 double overtime in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. They move on to the Cotton Bowl, where they're going to take on the winner of the Rose Bowl. Ohio State defeated Oregon 41-21. And in the Fiesta Bowl, Penn State heavily beat down Boise State, held Gianti in check pretty much. I saw they had 126 yards, but like people are freaking out because they didn't run all over him. They're like, oh, he finally faced a good defense and didn't do anything wrong. Come on. He did pretty damn good. So Penn State moves on to the Orange Bowl, where they're going to face Notre Dame, who took out Georgia 23-10 in the Sugar Bowl. Did we watch that?
It was not that close, really. I mean, Georgia was outclassed the whole way.
Intriguing. Let's see here. So the Cotton Bowl, Texas, Ohio State, that'll be taking place on Friday on ESPN. Ohio State is actually favored by 6 in this game. And in the Orange Bowl, Notre Dame favored by 2 over Penn State. That'll take place on Thursday on ESPN. So what are we looking forward to, Jay? Which game?
I'm looking forward to Ohio State. I mean, they were ranked 8th, and they've looked by far the best of anyone. It shows you kind of the fallacy of the seedings. I mean, you went through the scores, but the fact that none of the teams that were that had the bye won. I mean, it's everything 5 or lower, which is just amazing. I mean, there's been sports that's been doing this 2, 3, 4 decades, and I've never seen where all the top 4 seeds lost. Everyone that had the extra time off lost.
Yeah.
I mean, it was at an impartial place, so there was no home games.
Yeah.
So,
Oregon, they just didn't show up to play. I mean, Ohio State just took them to the dog track.
Yeah, like you said, it was 20 points. Wasn't that close?
No.
It wasn't that close. I mean, I didn't feel as bad that the team I followed, the Tennessee Vols, they looked bad in the second half against Ohio State, but Oregon, to make the score within 20, they had to really come back in the second half to make it where it didn't look laughable. I think, what was it, 31-3 at one point? It was 4 touchdowns at one point, I think.
I think that was a halftime. It was pretty big blowout.
Yeah, it was never in doubt after the middle of the second quarter, which was crazy when you think of Oregon as the number 1 seed.
Yeah. They're from the Pac-10, right? Pac-12, or what do you call it?
Yeah, Pac-12.
Teams from there generally don't do that well in the playoffs sometimes.
Yeah, it's always been that way.
Yeah.
Even when they would play in the Rose Bowl, which would usually be a California home field
Mhm.
advantage. UCLA and USC have never done well
Yeah.
against Ohio State, Penn State. It's always been a Big Ten advantage,
Yeah.
and it sure was the other day. But you got to remember the reason Oregon got that ranking is because they played. Wasn't it Ohio State that they beat earlier in the year to get that really good ranking? They beat them.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ohio
and
State struggled at times on the year too. So
yeah, they got better as the year went
yeah,
further along.
everybody lost their mind when they got held to 10 points by Michigan. So
Yeah, yeah.
um, did you say you watched the Penn State game?
I watched a bit of the Penn State game.
Yeah, I did too, and I think it's unfair how people are kind of putting it all on Jonte. It's majorly unfair to say that he was held in check. I mean, considering he rushes for almost like 200 yards a game, I mean, I guess he was held in check, but
But the other thing is too, you've got to remember for Boise State, the schedule they played,
Mhm.
uh, 80% of their games they could just kind of grind it out in the second half, and he'd really build up the yards. And
True.
they were playing from behind the whole game.
Yeah.
So if you're playing from behind and your rushing guy gets 126 yards, he's breaking some tackles.
Yeah. Penn State had a really good game plan for him, so it's easy to see why he was held to just 126, and that's really nothing to thumb your nose at. But
Yeah, that's 1,500 yards a year.
he's still going to go in the top
Yeah.
5 in the draft. So
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
So,
whatever.
but yeah, which game are you looking forward to next week?
I think Texas. I like the Texas game a lot.
I do too. I think Ohio State will take care of business, but Texas will be a good game.
Yeah, I believe so. After what Texas defense did against Arizona State in the second half last week,
Hmm.
it's tough to kind of lean on them and
Yeah.
think they're going to do something against Ohio State.
Yeah, that's true. That's
But
true.
it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, I mean, 12 teams is kind of a bit stretched. We'll see if people lose interest, especially the people who,
Yeah.
I mean, especially the people whose teams are out.
Yeah.
So,
I think they might have to start the season a little earlier
yeah.
because you're running into wildcard weekend now, and who are they going to watch?
Yeah, but they'll do it. They're going to do it weird times. They're not going to be competing directly against the NFL. I think they know that.
No, but there is such thing as people getting burnt out from football. If your team's not in it, you're not.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking of me personally.
Yeah,
I'm sure there are people out there that get burned out from. I mean, sometimes I've watched 3 or 4 college games for the week, and I struggle to watch only 2 of the NFL side. So
right. So,
Just get burnt
but
out
yeah,
on college football. And
I'm
don't
a
even,
football.
It just takes it only takes about a couple minutes of a game and I'm burnt out.
Oh, I understand you. I understand. Okay, I think we're about done with college for this.
Yeah.
I mean, college next weekend we'll have some great
Yep.
stories about college football. Hopefully a great game, because the Texas and Arizona State game was like a truly great game. It was the only one in the playoffs that was like really excellent
Mhm.
from beginning to end. But we're going to move over to the pros, and that's going to be the focus of our episode because it is the end of the season. We're going to start out before we talk about
I have a very very thought-provoking clip.
Okay.
That I
Oh
think
heavens!
Let's leave with the clip then.
I think we should.
Yeah.
I also have some important injuries as we head into the playoffs to consider, but God, if there's not my favorite thing, what is my favorite thing in football, y'all? Y'all know.
Touchdown celebrations.
A thick
Yeah.
6.
Concussions.
Thick
Fights.
6.
Oh, fights!
concussions.
Fights!
Fights, of course.
Of
Yes.
course. So
What are we thinking?
I honestly despicable. So all right.
Got a lot of windows open there, Julie.
Are you not on the screen
Yeah, I see it.
I'd say the screen.
with the fight on it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
It hadn't really started yet. They're just getting up.
No.
That-
It started a while ago. Come on now. Look, okay, so right now it's obviously just some pass interference, but then
Yeah.
from here we're already in there.
Okay, now he's
Okay.
throwing him
Okay, now we
over.
got
Yeah.
some arms going. There's some
Okay, now it's a
choking I
body
hear. Oh,
blows.
yeah,
Yeah.
now we got some choking. It's looking a little
Okay.
dumber up in here.
Yeah.
For just a hot sec. Uh,
Okay.
God, if there's not a division rival fight, what do I even want? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So there you go. A nice little fighting clip. Look, I would have. Nothing will ever be better than Aaron Donald choking someone out when the back of his helmet says "Stop Hate." But this was pretty good too.
Hey, he was a gentle giant. He didn't do nothing unless you provoked him.
He was a thumb creeper.
A what?
A thumb creeper.
A thumb creeper.
No,
Yeah.
creeper, like the Grim Reaper of thumbs.
Okay.
He took out
Yeah.
what 2-3 quarterbacks,
Yeah.
Okay.
broke their thumb, tore ligaments. Yeah.
I have nothing but negativity for that.
Okay.
But...
The thumb reaper. Okay. I was thinking
Yeah,
like
the thumb reaper.
thumb creeper. And I was
No.
like, oh my gosh.
Well, I guess
That
you have
sounds
to
like a
creep on
Lifetime
them.
movie. The thumb creeper.
I thought she said creeper.
You might have to creep on those thumbs to reap them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I had never thought about that.
And then as another little tidbit, when I'm back in the Seattle area, I usually attend a game, so we'll put a picture right here of me at the game. First section. And I didn't have seats because I was anyway, it's a long story, but I got to stand in the first section in the rain and grew moss while I watched the Vikings and the Seahawks play. So that was pretty cool because the Seahawks were pretty good for most of it and then floundered pretty awfully, but they only lost by 3 points, so that was pretty impressive. I did get to see a couple of the players stretching. I got to see Justin Jefferson stretching on the grass, not that far away from me, so that was pretty cool. Okay. I didn't get to see
that dude is really good.
I didn't get to see that. Yeah, like really close. Like we were, like it was. Yeah, the closeness was very cool there. I think Metcalf was out there too. I'm trying to remember, but anyway, sometimes you can actually meet the players and they'll come up to like the volunteer area where we're at and they'll sign stuff and everything. My dad saw that, didn't get anything from me, but they didn't do that the game I was there because I'm lucky like that. But and he doesn't know who anyone is anyway, so he never knows if it's important or not. And but because it was raining so hard, they didn't like come out in a line because sometimes you can see them come out and be like really close, but they weren't. They came out really slow because of the rain. But I did get to hear Geno Smith do a pep talk, so that was cool.
Okay, that is cool. But yeah, I saw the photos, and you were really close.
Really close. We were
that's
right there
really
in the touchdown. Yeah, like right there in the touchdown zone area for the Vikings, and yep. So it was pretty amazing. But yeah, so that was one of those fun things. I was supposed to go to 2 games, but I'm kind of glad I missed Cheesehead one because they always say watch out for the Cheeseheads and the Chief fans. That's what the people who do these games all season long always say. Those are the 2 fan bases. So if you're one of those, just know that that stadium workers are aware. Also, a note to the wise: don't scream at the TVs by the concession stands because you see Aaron Rodgers mess up your life and can't even do one thing for you. Anyway, because it'll scare people and they won't understand that you're
Why were you yelling at Aaron Rodgers?
Because it was on the TV, but I forgot that I was in like the concession area. So fans were jumping, is all I'm saying.
Did you need him to be somebody? Or you just don't like Aaron Rodgers anymore? You said you're yelling at him because he ruined your life.
I just wanted him to do something.
Oh, okay. Something.
You know what I mean? Just not fuck it up. But that didn't work out, so I had to tell him how I felt about it. All these people jumped. Really funny. Yep. So another fun day at Lumen Field. Yep. Yep. So we'll put in that picture because really close. You can't go on the field anymore. They have a lot of people who are like security. You could do that last season, but not this season. But you can get close enough to touch it, so that's cool too. And I saw DK Metcalf like scream at somebody, so I was like, yes, that's a hothead, we know, but you wouldn't catch, the venomousness if you were just watching the TV. But
That's true.
I still prefer watching the games on the TV.
Mhm.
Over being in person, okay? Because it's cold, it's wet, you have to walk a lot. But anyway, it's still good to get out there sometimes.
Yeah, it looked really neat. And Justin Jefferson, I mean, the guy's got amazing flexibility.
I could see that.
When you think about, really, when you think about great wide receivers out of LSU, there's been a bunch, but
Yeah.
he
I
is,
just mean like I saw him stretching, so I think I know that. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yes.
But let's see, we're going to move into before we talk about the X's and O's and everything. Ryan's got a little bit of some opinion on the postseason awards, which will be coming up in a week or two for the
Oh,
NFL.
oh yes, yes. Where would you like
We'll
to
leave
start
with
today?
those, and then we'll start railing on the teams that we follow.
And the injuries that are going to be important
Well,
heading into
we'll
the.
do the injuries since you.
Do you want to do the injuries? You
Yeah,
can
let's do
injuries
the
first.
injuries now.
Okay, so just these are just the ones that occurred last week. I did not look far enough back to like analyze every injury that could be affecting the postseason in total. I could do that, but just didn't quite happen. But in week 18, some of the teams that we'll be seeing in the postseason, the Detroit Lions, cornerback Terrion Arnold had a foot injury. Dan Campbell said the X-rays are negative and that the team will know more on Monday. Didn't really get an update on that yet, but yeah, they're concerned because the Lions are already beat up to hell on their defense, so
Mhm.
they need everybody. But hopefully his foot is okay. But we all saw that was rough. Green Bay Packers are also beat up to hell, and the wide receiver Christian Watson had the knee injury, and he was ruled out to play versus the Bears. They need everybody they can get. Quarterback Jordan Love had the elbow injury, which obviously is alarming. Packers coach Matt LaFleur said that Love could have returned in the second half, but they decided not to because they wanted to keep him healthy for the postseason.
Mhm.
However, maybe they should have because they had to deal with the humiliation of losing to the Bears. So that's not good for team
Ooh.
morale. The Los Angeles Chargers offensive lineman Trey Pipkins had a oblique injury, and then cornerback Christian Fulton is sick. So a couple of people down there. And for the Rams, they have running back Blake Corum. He had the broken forearm against the Seahawks, and yeah, that'll do it. Although I forget who it was that was playing with a broken hand yesterday. It's like, okay, this isn't the 90s. Anyway,
Isn't Hufanga the one that has the broken hand?
I thought it was a white guy.
I have no idea. I know Hufanga's been playing with a freaking club in his hand.
No, it was one of the I think it was one of the Lions, white guy
Oh,
with the Lions.
okay.
Yeah, I forget who he is. It's one of the big boys, okay? Broken hand. All right.
Wow.
Big
Yes,
man,
and
big
then
man.
tight end Hunter Long had the knee injury and didn't return. So that is the major injuries for any of the postseason teams. So some of the teams didn't have any that are heading into the
Freaking Hunter
postseason, but
Long.
what?
Hunter Long just kind of irritates me a little bit.
Oh,
The dude we traded Jalen Ramsey for.
well, now you don't have to worry about him because
Yeah, we got Higby back. You got Parkinson. It's all good.
yeah. Although I kind of appreciate Corum, so I definitely was sad about that.
Oh yeah, Blake Corum. Yeah, he was definitely a great compliment to Kyron Williams. But
And I
hopefully
do
Ronnie
like that name
Rivers
because
can
it's
do.
like a quorum of people.
Damn good.
That aligns well with some of the other more spiritual names like Verse, who's going to take you to church, and then I think you have another one that's rather churchy too. So I just like that quorum
I wouldn't say fist.
sermon.
So we have a guy named Sermon.
That might be the 49ers. Whatever.
Isn't this Trey Sermon is his name?
Yeah, so we're gonna do a sermon, then you're gonna get a verse, and there's gonna be a quorum of people. Okay, I'm loving it. Anyway, it's the little things, okay? It's the little things.
We're gonna talk about Jared Verse in a bit, so
yeah, so now we're done with the quorum of injuries. And we can kind of things we can watch out for heading into the next week, and and we can move on.
Yep. Yeah, Ryan, why don't you throw out your list of the people we're looking at for the NFL awards this year?
You want to start with MVP?
Yeah, start at the top.
Okay, so I have for every category I've listed off 5 candidates that I feel are probably in the running.
Okay.
All right, so let's start off. What'd you say, Julie?
I said it's dedicated.
Oh yeah, it took some work.
The research committee. Yeah.
We got Josh Allen starting off. Josh Allen's gonna start off the MVP talk. I beat his drum for the last month. I feel like he probably is gonna get MVP. Then I have Lamar. He's put up some pretty good numbers. They're actually looking better than Josh's, but Josh is doing more with less, in my opinion. Saquon rushed for 2,000 yards. And then we got Joe Burrow. And I threw Sam Darnold in there as our
so
5th candidate.
Websites.
Yes. So Josh Allen's thrown for 3,700 yards, almost 3,800, 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a 76.7 QBR. He's also rushed for 512 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 5.2 yards per carry. And he's led his team to a 13-3 record while he's been starting. He didn't play yesterday. They lost. They finished the season 13-4, whatever. Lamar's thrown for over 4,100, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 77.6 QBR. I didn't catch his rushing stats, but he led his team to a 12-5 record. Saquon, 2,000 yards, 13 TDs, and 5.8 yards per carry. And they kind of leaned on him to a 13-win season.
Okay.
Now, Joe Burrow kind of irritates me a little bit. Okay, because this dude has the best numbers of anybody, really. Almost 5,000 yards, 43 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 75.1 QBR, and he only had 9 wins. That's upsetting.
I mean, compared to the other people, their defense is so trash.
Yeah, I know, and that's
compared to the other 4 on your list. Their defense is so amazingly
It just speaks to the fact that a quarterback cannot alone carry a team, although that is often an expectation. Because you could be a Joe Burrow and do amazing and still not be able to carry a team because it's a team sport. My God. So, what a concept. But I think that could be a helpful reminder that sometimes some people can have amazing stats, but if you're half your team sucks or more.
I'm going to go with Josh Allen. I'm in agreement with you for 2 reasons. Number one, I mean, I've seen a bunch of highlight plays for Josh Allen, but I haven't seen any for Lamar this year. Maybe they're out there, but just like their leading sports center, it seems like, with Josh Allen. And then number 2, I think is voter fatigue, since Lamar has gotten it a couple times. And if it's like a flip of a coin between 2 guys, the media always prefers the story over the narrative, I guess you'd call it.
If we have a Heisman Trophy winner who's not a quarterback, maybe we can have an MVP too.
I like the idea. I think Saquon's very deserving.
I was like, ooh, maybe something like this is an omen, since that rarely happens. And then my dad pointed out that back in the day, only pretty much running backs got the Heisman. And I was like, well, that shows the era of football that you watched. But yes.
That's true.
I'm like, but now, Dad, that's really rare. Anyways.
I firmly believe Josh is likely winning MVP because, yes, he has Amari Cooper, but he's hardly ever targeted. Khalil Shakir was his leading receiver this year. He has James Cook. James Cook is a 1,000-yard rusher. He's a Pro Bowl level talent, but he's not Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry rushed for 1,900 yards this season. I mean,
Look,
Lamar had
luckily
his
he
best
was
season stat wise this
yeah.
year.
Luckily he was washed up, or could have had a
Oh,
really great year.
oh yeah, yeah.
I'm from the team that just like released him, didn't trade him for a 7th round pick like the valuable Malik Willis. They just like let him go for
But
nothing.
to be fair, I feel like not even the Titans, who, again, as I told you before, tell me when they do something competent because that'll be news. But I think a lot of people would have had that same kind of negative opinion of Henry because we seem to think that we have a crystal ball that determines age and skill sets.
He did have a few injuries in the last few years that kind of set him back a little bit, but he's still a freaking beast. I mean,
Yeah, you don't have to tell me.
if you could pick Derrick Henry or Tony Pollard,
I mean, yeah.
you're picking Derrick Henry. So
I just feel like maybe that wouldn't be just a Titans mistake. Other people might have made that same one, but
yeah, like the Giants.
oh god.
Yeah, they did the same thing. But the other thing is that the Titans had the brilliance of they paid Ryan Tannehill and didn't pay Derrick Henry,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
an epic. When you put it in those terms, you have to think about how epic that is. So anyway, let's move on to ones that that won't be like a straight easy decision like Josh Allen. Anyway, the next ones
So
because we have to get to the games here in a little bit.
Yeah. The next one I have is Coach of the Year. I have Sean Payton, who finished 10-7 at the third wild card. Kevin O'Connell, 14-3, was the first wild card. Not very often you're going to see that.
No.
Dan Quinn out of Washington, 12-5, second wild card. I threw Sean McVay in there, 10-7, division winner. And Jim Harbaugh, 11-6, second wild card.
I'm going with the Washington coach.
Oh, you're going with Dan.
He was
that's solid.
Yeah.
He was 12-5 with the rookie quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely.
With a team that's like literally always fourth or fifth in their own division.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
for sure. That was a huge.
They're always fourth or fifth. They're always behind the Giants, the Eagles, and the Cowboys every year.
I have no argument for that. I think that'd be one of the more solid picks.
I think they're all solid picks.
I think
I do.
I wouldn't mind a little Mike Tomlin, even though I disagree with him on player safety, of course. But he redeemed my favorite person on this planet ever in his career, and used what could be considered a rather weak staff and transform or weak quarterback position and other positions and transform them, and somehow Najee Harris and Pat Freiermuth are now amazing players, and when the hell were you expecting that to happen? Because Najee Harris was sort of on his last leg in the league, period. So these are some pretty epic things. So it was kind of polishing some turds there, and he did really, really well.
That entire offense was on its last legs.
And we were staring down the barrel of washed up Russell Wilson and a very judged what's his name? Justin Fields. So after his little stint with the Bears, which makes everyone look bad. And and then look where they're at now. So I think they had the last laugh about that. And
I put Sean on there because of the fact that he led Denver to the playoffs with Bo Nix, who likely was the best quarterback in the draft this year. Jaden might be right there with him. Kevin O'Connell turned Sammy Ghost into an MVP candidate. Dan Quinn, rookie quarterback. Sean kept the Rams afloat with all the injuries they had to the offense, and Herbert was the only player they had on offense this year that I can even think of.
Yeah, I can't think of any other. Yeah,
they won 11 games.
Very true. That is a really good point. Maybe I think
that's a coaching thing.
Argument there. Yeah.
So what's our next category?
Offensive player of the year. We already talked about Barkley, Burrow, Derrick Henry. I threw Jamar Chase in there. 1,700 yards, 17 touchdowns, and he averaged 13, almost 13 and a half per catch. And I threw Jared Goff in there. I mean, Jared was very close to being in my MVP talks, but look at the weapons he has in Detroit. I mean, Amon-Ra, he's got Williams, Gibbs. He had Montgomery for most of the year. I mean, good Lord. They are loaded with talent over there.
Yeah.
And they also have one of the best offensive lines in the league. So
You think that they might go Josh Allen for MVP and then for Offensive Player of the Year, like consolation prize, Saquon Barkley?
yeah,
Yeah, probably, which would be
You think they might do
bullshit.
that?
it'll be 2021 all over again when Rodgers won MVP over Cup and Cup won Offensive Player of the Year.
Okay.
Why don't we switch it up and have the quarterback get offensive player of the year and then let
You would
Barkley
think,
get
right?
the MVP? Yeah,
Barkley.
amazing. What a narrative.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But no, I'm pretty sure you're right because
Yeah. Quarterback scale of the chicks, man.
So what we at next? Defensive?
Defensive Player of the Year. Trey Hendrickson out of Cincinnati. He had 17 and a half sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and he also had 19 tackles for a loss. Myles Garrett out of Cleveland. He had 14 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and 22 tackles for a loss. Kyle Van Noy out of Baltimore, 12 and a half sacks, 2 fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and 14 tackles for loss. Daniil Hunter out of Houston, 12 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 17 tackles for a loss. And then Jonathan Grenard out of Minnesota, 12 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and 18 tackles for a loss. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, who do you have, Ryan, as your leader in the clubhouse?
You know, Hendrickson having the 17 and a half gives him the edge for me. But Myles Garrett, man, 14 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and then the 22 tackles for a loss.
Yeah, 22 is a lot.
22 tackles for a loss coming off of the defensive end spot. He's getting chipped. He's getting double teamed. Slide protection constantly to Myles. Trey's getting the same thing, but it's not the same rate as Myles Garrett, man. I mean, it's got to go to Myles, in my opinion.
Okay. I mean, I don't follow this as closely as some people do, but isn't this like the first year in a couple that that Watt and Micah Parsons are both like not really
TJ Watts are still pretty high up.
a part of it?
TJ Watt only had 11 and a half sacks this year. That's crazy for him.
Well, I mean, Micah, the reason was because of the injuries.
Yeah, Micah. Yeah,
Micah Parsons.
I mean, again, this is just my list, my opinion.
But that makes sense. I mean, what you're telling us.
Yeah, I mean, Myles Garrett's a beast. At times,
So,
he did sometimes kind of disappear a little bit. But I think that's just because he played on the Cleveland defense, and Denzel Ward's really the only other player I can name on the Cleveland defense.
Okay.
okay, so now I can make a bit more of an argument for Surtain because I've definitely seen him, but I'm not like a super numbery person all the time. But I guess cornerbacks often don't get that, and it's sort of by sack always, but it's not always about sacks. Okay.
You're right.
Okay. I know I'm all right. So, uh, which we love pigs. Okay, we need those. And then also, let me see here. He only allowed 33 catches for 279 yards all season. And he had the passer rating for opposing quarterbacks when he's targeted is 56. So that's pretty good. I guess it's not as fancy as like just saying a sack, but between picks and like completions allowed and that kind of thing, like he would be a pretty
He
solid pick.
he also had 11 pass deflections, so
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. So I think it's less sexy than saying just a sack here and there, but I think like,
There is an argument for Patrick. He allowed
he's highly favored in most circles as far as I can tell.
a sub 60 completion percentage is pretty damn good.
Yeah,
Average under 9 yards per completion. He only allowed 2 touchdowns. Sub 50, sub 60 rating. I
right.
mean, it's there. I mean, there's a good argument for him.
I guess it's just, and I swear to God, I've never really thought about this because I'm not a big awards person, but
You
apparently,
no.
I know, shocking, cornerbacks are just not really highly favored in this area, and I never once thought about it because all we want to do is talk about a fucking sack, which all it can mean is like you grabbed his foot and he fell.
Yep.
Like, cool story,
Yep.
bro. So like I appreciate reflecting on all defensive talents. So
I am actually, my argument is more towards the tackles for loss rather than the sacks. I mean, sacks are nice. They, get you lots of down, a lots of yardage. Beautiful. But I'm looking at more like, do they get in the backfield? Do they cause turnovers? And shit like that, you know what I mean?
well, I mean, but if you're picking and you're deflecting, you are. It's just like the nature of his position is a
Yeah.
bit different.
Yeah,
So like
absolutely.
you can't expect him to do that.
Yeah, you're right. I hear you.
Yeah, like that would be a different position, and he wouldn't be the position that he's in if he
The
wanted to
the
do
last
that.
corner, the last corner to win Defensive Player of the Year was actually Stephon Gilmore.
I'm here
And
for it. Let's go.
that was 2020, I believe.
Wow, that's soon. I was thinking back in like the 70s, like Raiders era.
Or it might have been
Okay, I
2019.
bet. Okay,
You know?
I bet.
Yeah, Gilmore won it over Donald and Watt that year. Jalen Ramsey was actually close to winning it the year TJ Watt won it. The only reason why he didn't win it was TJ Watt broke the record or tied the record for sacks.
Yeah.
So that was the year Ramsey was in that lockdown mode. He's always talking about lockdown. Yeah.
Gotcha. Let's see. I think you got one more category.
No. We are not done yet because I just went and looked at the 70s. Mean Joe Green was 1972. I'm not saying they're cornerbacks. I'm just appreciating the talent that we're seeing here. Yeah. We got Dick Anderson. Again, Mean Joe Green.
He's cornerback, right? Dick Anderson?
Let me see here.
I think he's a cornerback for the Dolphins.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the list and you're asking me all these in-depth questions like I have my research team here. Jesus.
Well, tell the cats to get on it.
We got Mean Joe Green again, Jack Lambert, and other people I don't know.
The Steel Curtain really.
Lawrence Taylor, good lord. Okay, well, I know we're in the 80s now, but Lawrence Taylor, yeah, that's no fucking joke. How many times was Lawrence Taylor the defensive?
Didn't he win it 3 or 4 times?
3.
At least, I'm looking.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike Singletary, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, they don't
LT.
Make them like
so LT, JJ, and Donald were the only players to win Defensive Player of the Year 3 times.
That's amazing.
Okay. But the other thing is, you look at these guys in the 80s, late 70s, even Donald. I mean, these were dominant teams that they were what you identified their team by, not the quarterback or the running back, which never happens now. But back in the 70s and 80s, you would see it a lot. When you said the Giants.
You're popping heads off of the people on the field, it tends to grab somebody's attention.
When you can give guys, sleeper hold and take them out of the ground.
When you have people on stretchers every other minute, like people tend to notice who puts them in there.
Ryan a lot and win it more.
We're going to jump to Ryan's last category because Julie still has to talk about the games, even though some of them were, lame duck games. We're not going to talk about that much, but we still haven't even touched on the games. We got, I think, you have one more category left, Ryan?
Yeah, just the rookies of the years.
Rookie of the year. Okay.
So offensive rookie of the year, I got Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Brian Thomas Jr. out of Jacksonville, and Ladd McConkey.
Yeah, I was really impressed by McConkey. I'll give him that.
I firmly believe it might go to. I'm probably gonna say Jaden.
Yeah, I think so.
Over Bo, just for the fact that Bo only has like 200 more yards passing than him and 4 more touchdowns, but he has 3 more interceptions. And Jaden's QBR is like 20 points higher.
Okay.
Yeah, but I do like a Brock Bowers though.
Thank you. Yes,
I do.
I mean,
I was very close to putting him in there, but I mean, he's a damn good tight end. But
I mean, he's not just breaking tight end records; he's breaking rookie records that were set by wide receivers.
didn't he break Puka's record for
Yes.
receptions?
Yeah,
That pisses
it's
me off.
crazy. It's that is pure crazy.
Considering
You
who's
know?
throwing the ball this year, yes, it's very crazy.
Yeah.
Brian
I
Thomas
mean, it's
Jr. though, 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns in Jacksonville. He caught
but you
87 out of 113. I mean, that's crazy.
but you don't think it's crazy that we're not talking about Marvin Harrison Jr.
I mean, he's there, and so is Malik Neighbors, but I think you have to look at the overall team. I mean, Bowers isn't exactly wowing us that way either, but I think
Just steady.
He did have 1,100 yards receiving, and only 5 touchdowns, but still.
I mean, Neighbors and Harrison Jr. are nothing to sneeze at. I just kind of feel like they were underwhelmed. It's really about the teams that they were on, but I mean, they put up really impressive stats, so it's no
Outside of
shade
a
on
few,
them.
outside of a few games, Marvin Harrison was kind of. Oh well, he's Marvin Harrison's son. There he is. He's
He
gonna
has
be
good
good.
stats, okay, but like you
Yeah,
got to think about the fact that you have Murray throwing it.
yeah. When you have a toddler throwing you the ball, I mean, it's just hard to catch.
It makes it complicated, so you're gonna have to give him some grace here, but his stats are pretty good, so
Yeah, he's gonna get better over time. It's just this year
yes.
he's not on par with the rest of them.
But I would say the same for Neighbors. I mean, he had fucking Danny Dimes throwing to him half the season. Like,
And then
that's not gonna do.
Cutlets, and then Boyle, and
I mean, what a disaster. So I don't think it's really a reflection on him. I think he has a lot of talent. It's just an absolute clusterfuck. But once that's over, like, if he gets somebody decent, I mean, he would really shine. Both of them would.
Ryan McConkey's gonna get better too, man. I mean,
Yeah, I think so too.
but it's
So,
probably Daniels. Probably Daniels.
Yeah, I think they'll go Daniels. So let's throw it to Julie to look at some of the games, even though, like I said, half the
You
games
can
were
do
just
defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, we didn't do defensive rookie of the year, my guy.
okay. Let's do drop then.
Let's do drop. Okay.
Yeah, defensive rookie of the past season
Okay.
drops.
Well,
All right.
Jared versus taking us to church. I like that one. Or Quinyon Mitchell. That's the only even other close one.
I got Braden Fisk, Jared Verse, Quinyon Mitchell, Chop Robinson, and Callan Bullock out of Houston.
Don't even know that.
You don't know that?
No.
All right, so let's talk about Braden Fisk. Braden Fisk led all rookies in sacks.
I don't think we really need to talk about it too much.
No, maybe not. I'm just saying.
I think we're okay.
With all the freaking shit Verse did, he only had 4.5 sacks this season.
Oh my god, and sacks are the only thing. Okay, anyway, let's talk about week 18 really quick here.
Okay.
Yeah, Verse is gonna take us to church. End of story. All right. Browns and Ravens. Oh Lord, have mercy.
Never a game.
Yeah. God, yeah. While we're talking about other disaster clusters, we can talk about the 49ers and the Cardinals, 24-47. Raiders, Chargers, 20-34. The Chiefs and the Broncos, 0-38. You can't even get a goddamn point without Mahomes. I don't even know.
Without Kelsey, you mean? The backup could have thrown 2 touchdowns to Kelsey.
Maybe. We all know that Taylor Swift is sabotaging his career or whatever, so. Conspiracy theory, let's get our tinfoil hats out, gentlemen.
We already did that earlier.
Yes, indeed. So those were some of our most trash dumpstery games. Well, Vikings and Lions, that was pretty rough. It was slow, boring. I felt like I was punishing myself a bit with that one. I feel like. Did anyone else feel like that?
Because of Minnesota's output, or?
It was just rather anticlimactic on a lot of ways, I feel like.
Yeah, the first half was kind of slow
Well,
and
the
methodical.
Vikings sucked, so like that, it was like, okay, so now we're just watching a really beat up Lions kick their ass, which
Yeah, for as
was odd.
beat up as their defense is, man, they really put the hammer to Minnesota's deep
I know,
offense.
like, I don't think I've ever seen what's his name? The guy who sees ghosts. And I
Sam
just saw him in
Darnold.
person too. Like pretty close. Yes, Darnold, I don't think I've seen him eat the turf that much this whole season in a game. That was kind of tremendous. I think he stayed more on eating grass than actually upright. Um,
Yep.
but if I wanted to see that, I could just watch like UFC or something. So I'm good. Oh, and then the Dolphins and the Jets. Let's talk about how some of the teams decided to actually wake up and play in the last game when it didn't matter. One of the examples of that would be the Dolphins and the Jets. Like, oh, guess what, Aaron Rodgers? You are still alive. I think it's the ayahuasca. I've heard that the long-term effects of that can be rather problematic with
It's
time.
hallucinogen.
Sometimes you just never quite come back the same way. Bengals, Steelers. I mean, most of these other ones are a little closer, at least, kind of. Bengals, Steelers. That made me want to cry a little bit. Um, uh, Panthers, Falcons. Nobody cares, but I am kind of excited to see what Bryce Young does next season. So there's that.
It was a good game.
Yeah.
He's looked so good the last half of the year.
Very good.
I somehow benching him like has revived something in his spirit. Whatever Aaron Rodgers gave up, he took.
Hallucinogens.
I know they probably had like a little session and he just took all of his life force. Um he thought he was just taking him to the retreat and he ended up taking his energy. But anyways, um Texans and Titans, any words on that, Jay?
Certainly. I want to thank the Titans for not choking in the clutch like these other teams did. I'd like to thank them for keeping their eyes on the prize, so that they could get the number one draft pick.
Shadur Sanders.
That's true.
Got to be Shadur Sanders.
Coming to a Tennessee McDonald's near you.
Oh, it's got to be Shadur Sanders. If they pick even Travis or Cam, I'm going to be so upset. I mean, it's got to be Shadur.
I mean, Jay, realistically, you kind of need all of that.
Well,
Hey, man,
I mean, you need a corner.
You give a good quarterback to an incredible backfield of Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears. Okay,
Oof.
you're going to be looking at. They probably between those two, they did as much as the one person, Derrick Henry. They got like
Why don't you guys like try to lure Aaron Rodgers in with some hallucinogens and then draft Travis Hunter?
Yeah, well, I mean, Nashville is the home for the Stars now. They have both Nicole Kidman and Taylor Swift. So
I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is still a star, but that's a falling star in my opinion. But
it wouldn't
anyways,
surprise me because we always like to bury older people who have had amazing careers, and then oh my God, they had one bad season and now they're trash. So fuck that shit.
one
Anyways, he was so ill the entire other one.
ill.
You know what I mean? Probably mentally and physically, but still, like
Yeah.
he was out for the most of the season. How are you going to put that against him?
Frail, man, fragile. Them ligaments don't bend like they used to.
Yeah, Stafford would know about that. I'm just saying that you have to give people a chance because as we saw, sometimes the wrong team will make a good quarterback look like trash. So
Yeah. That's a terrible culture in New York.
Giants and Eagles, no surprise there. I'm just surprised the Giants actually got 13 points.
They couldn't even beat a third string quarterback. That's so embarrassing.
Is it? I mean, it's about as embarrassing as the rest of the season. I feel like it's really on par. Jaguars, Colts, no one gives a shit.
Not at all.
23-26 for the fans, the loyal fans. I do respect
Good
any fans of either team, but I mean, as the majority of us, no one gives a shit. Commanders and Cowboys. The Cowboy fans I've heard are very disgruntled because their record is trash, but it really is not a surprise the Commanders won because that's what they've been doing all season. I don't see the Cowboys doing much different because they seem to enjoy failing.
Yeah, their Bionic Man's coming back next year too, so it's gonna be just as bad.
They just gotta wait until a certain somebody just kicks the bucket, and then they'll have to like do some cultural changes.
Yeah. Buys a farm, bites the bullet.
Yeah, Bears and Packers. That was hilarious to me because I can't stand the Cheeseheads, and I do love that rivalry. No, Aaron Rodgers. The Packers don't own the Bears.
Not anymore.
Yeah, Caleb Williams has something to get out of bed for because he just had like one of the worst rookie seasons known to man, that no one deserves.
I wouldn't say worst. I mean, statistically, he was decent.
No, I'm saying his situation that he was playing with was one of like that kind of stuff. Like the fact that he even showed up every week, I thought was more than enough. I was I'm just impressed that you're still here. Okay.
Dedication.
Like, kind of like Bryce Young, like just showing up every week, is enough for me. Because I think I would have just fallen apart and left the building. Saints Buccaneers, no real surprise there. The Saints have been absolute trash. Let's see if they actually do anything about it. Derek Carr, please stop acting like you're Superman when you're 50. Okay, you can't dive through the air like that on a play that didn't even matter and break something. I mean, my God. Can we explain what happened with the Bills and the Patriots anymore?
Yeah, the Bills played their third string freaking players.
Still, it's the Patriots, though. I don't know.
And also, the great thing is the Patriots won the game, and then the coach lost his job. That's kind of an unusual thing.
They said you did your job so poorly that you decided to win the last one, that we're going to punish you with getting dropped.
See, the Titans coach is not on the hot seat.
Did you happen to see Gronk talking about Gerard Mayo's firing?
Yeah.
That was the most asinine ramblings I've ever heard.
I told you I told the group he was trying to speak a coherent sentence through the CTE, and he couldn't do it.
Yeah. I'm just honestly so shocked that it is shocking to everybody, and it's very shocking that this would happen, and I'm just so shocked. Like, oh really? You're shocked?
Look, give him 10 years and he won't even remember his brother's names. So I think he's doing his very best.
Yeah, he's gonna start calling everybody Grover.
Mind if I call you all Grover? I don't like learning names.
He has like the Mike Webster forehead where like the muscles don't really move because there's so much scarring right here. Oh, it's from the scarring from the helmet and all the impact over and over and over. So like it doesn't happen to everybody, but it actually starts to have like it starts to fuse together a bit when you have too much trauma in that area. Yeah, and you actually get like full-on scarring here. Like I said, Mike Webster had it. A lot of older players had it. That's why this part of their face doesn't really move, because it started to fuse from all the damage.
I'm going to look for that next time.
Yeah,
I've never thought about that.
It's super. I noticed because I was like, oh my God, he's got the Mike Webster, because that's a good sign that your brain is literal mush. But yeah, it's like it's not Botox or anything. It's just because this whole part is so scarred that the tissue sort of forms together and makes like a thing. Yeah. Again, it used to happen a lot more with older players when helmets were the way they were, and you led with your helmet. It had more, but he still has some of that. So that's why he can't say a goddamn thing, Ryan. He's doing his very best, but the neurons are not firing.
It's fired. They've never fired.
That makes sense. I mean, it's like 90% of the analysts that you see. I mean, of course, there's quarterbacks, but you'll see a quarterback or two and maybe like a wide receiver, but you never see a tight end or offensive lineman or even a defensive lineman as a commentator. You know, Howie Long is the only lineman I can think of in the last 20 years I've seen as a commentator.
There's going to be a lot of reasons.
Okay.
Yeah, but I do think I don't think Ralph was probably ever, like a valedictorian, but I don't think that. I know, shocking. But like I also
shocking.
He was the valedictorian.
The hamster in his wheel was already like limping constantly all the way through school, but now it's like blown out and is like shell shocked and isn't even in the wheel anymore. Sometimes it tries to put one of its little paws on the wheel and that's it. That's what we were seeing.
Don't laugh. You're gonna get like a gif from me of a limping hamster for like the next 7 days. I can't get that out of my mind. The grog hamster.
Okay, anyway. Rams, Seahawks, yay, Seahawks again. We decided to play when the season didn't matter. Thank you for that. And I think we're good, folks, because we're almost at our 1 hour mark.
Yep,
and,
we are.
Yeah, thank God we made it to 2025. It's gonna be an interesting year. I'm sure we'll see a lot of our sports greats go down in flames with some of the music industry people, so we can enjoy that. We can call it a year of truth, I think, is what we're going to be encountering. So make sure to check into my True Crime podcast because it'll be overflowing every single episode. And like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.
What is my favorite thing in football, y'all? Y'all know.
Touchdown celebration?
A thick 6.
Concussions.